What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Next Wave podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Blake Zanny Janney, joined by my co-host, Dak B. Woody Woodall. Today, we've got a great episode coming for you guys. We recently just went to Rocket League Champs, so we're going to cover that, as well as there's some interesting roster news in the COD world transpiring, so we're going to cover that as well. Episode 38 is going to be a good one. Appreciate you guys watching and tuning in. Let's get into the episode. Let's reminisce for a second, Dak, on the elite matches that we saw at Rocket League Champs live in the flesh.
You
Five
said
rows
it twice,
up.
you little COD kid. You keep saying
What?
champs.
Worlds. Sorry,
hey, I don't care, but the Rocket League
it's the same
community
thing.
will care.
In my opinion, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rocket League Worlds. Keep forgetting about that. But yeah, Dak got us insane seats. We were technically row 7, but it was actually the 5th row.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
I didn't either.
It went 3,
labeled.
4, 5, 6, 7. Started at 3.
I'm assuming what if maybe there's a couple handicap
yeah, maybe
they qualify as rows where it's just like here's the area where you can put your wheelchair.
Yeah,
type
true.
thing, and that's row 1 and 2 or something like
That'd be
that.
sick.
But yeah,
wheelchair right behind the desk.
They zoom in on, this is Rocket League. But yeah, we got to go to Worlds live and in person. First ever Rocket League event I've ever been to. You've only been to Worlds now, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the only type of tournament you've been to is Worlds?
Yeah, if you want to count CRL Worlds at DreamHack that we went to.
Oh, then yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, no, this is the only RLCS
Rocket League
event.
exclusive.
The only 2 RLCS events I've ever attended were Worlds at Dickies Arena, both times. So
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. We'll definitely talk more about that later, but what I really want to cover right now is some juicy Call of Duty roster mania going on. And let me tell you, we have not heard about any roster movement with like the bottom 6 teams. Like nothing has been said about any of like the B tier players and below in the league. The only roster mania we've been hearing about is pretty much Toronto and New York.
But I think that's because we need those dominoes to fall for the other dominoes to start moving.
That is very true. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, that's very true. But those are obviously the only 2 teams in the top 4 we're seeing change. FaZe is going to stick together, and obviously Optic winning champs is going to stick together. Do you think, I don't know if we talked about this, do you think FaZe winning EWC, if they didn't win EWC, or if they placed outside of grand finals, do you think they would have made a change?
Potentially, maybe.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I just don't know what their life is like internally in the camp with all the drama that happened this year between Draza and his girlfriend and getting after Scrappy and his girlfriend. Like, it could have just been a distraction and annoying to deal with throughout the year, kind of. And then getting top 6, they're like, all right, bro, like, what the hell? And then Scrap becomes available. Maybe they'd pick him up, or maybe they all don't like him. I don't know. But, you know, potentially there could have been movement had they placed poorly at EWC. But if you're FaZe and if I was Simp or Abizi or Celium, I would stay together as long as possible.
Yeah,
like
I
forever.
agree. I think they'll be all right. But yeah, so what the rumored changes are, and we might have even touched on it a little bit in our last episode that we did, but it is a not even theorized, apparently it's being finalized as we speak, is what was tweeted by CDL Intel. Whatever that actually means, like in my head, like in reality, that means pen to paper contract signing.
Yeah, in my head, Hydra's in the room right now, like with a pen.
Right, he's got a pen in his hand, yeah. I don't know if that's the case. I was watching Nate Shot stream as this was all being tweeted, and like people in his chat were spamming it, and he had his chat closed for like 30 minutes playing Valorant, and
Mm-hmm.
so he opened it and was like, guys, why are y'all spamming this like it's breaking news? Like, these rumors have been going on for 2 weeks. And he was like, listen, y'all know I would do a lot to have that roster, but the way things are shaking out, I don't think that's going to happen.
Nade's
And
chat
then,
was spamming corn actor.
oh yeah, good corn acting.
Yeah,
So
so
I don't know. So just to bring it back, Ghosty, uh, Scrap, Envoy, and Hydra,
Yeah.
all on 100 Thieves. I'm wondering, because we know like a week after EWC, or maybe a couple weeks, Ghost. The first thing of roster mania that came out is Ghosty is has like sources say Ghosty is firm on staying with 100 Thieves.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this is why, because like why didn't they go to C9, or why didn't they go to Toronto, right? Because we
Right.
know that they've tweeted that they're restricted or unrestricted free agents. So regardless, there's going to be buyouts on one end or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But why 100T, who openly said this past year that they're having salary cuts and like are not building a roster with the best salary, which obviously is not the best players.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, obviously Ghosty was a superstar this year, but he was probably just above minimum because
Yeah.
he
were
had
taking pay
just a
cuts.
stint with Optic, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't winning anything, and so I don't know. I'm curious to see if it's real or not, but that's going to open up the floodgates.
Yeah, definitely. If it is real, this team is insane already.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a possible roster that just takes over and wins 4 out of 5 tournaments.
No,
in the year.
I still think that Optic and FaZe are
Yeah.
going to be neck and neck with them, but
this is a team that should win 2 majors at least.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on paper. So
Should. On paper, exactly.
yeah, because Hydra himself could take a team to finals on any given tournament run if he's feeling it. Scrap is always going to drop the most kills in the lobby. Like, this team's going to be insane, you know?
It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. So
Optic's got a tall task ahead of them if that team is real.
yeah, definitely.
I'm curious, like, what 4 are you putting on that 4th team? Like, if it's Thieves,
Well,
Optic,
I think it just
FaZe,
makes it a top 3.
which is
league.
healed. Call of Duty's healed, by the way. FaZe, Optic, and 100 Thieves are your best 3 teams. We're healed all the way.
Definitely. But I think it makes it a top 3 instead of a top 4. I don't know if there
okay,
is,
that's what I was going to say.
I don't think there's
like,
a
I'm
top
trying to
4
think
anymore.
who you're putting on that 4, because the top 4 had these 12 players scattered around, 8 of them being on the FaZe and Optic, and then the other 4 were across those 2 teams.
But the thing,
obviously Ghosty.
The thing to me is, like, Scrap and Hydra are the main reason those teams are in the top 4. You take one of them away,
Exactly.
that team's no longer in the top 4. Like, there's no one that can fill in Scrap's shoes on a bottom 8 team. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
you take them and put them together on a team, you got 3 now. You know?
And you're keeping Scrap and Envoy together. Obviously Hydra plays with Scrap, like in other games and stuff like that. Like, they've been playing games together. And then Ghosty's at home. So they're gonna be fucking gross.
Yeah.
Ghosty, don't know if his play style necessarily changes too much. It's a brand new game, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true.
With
these smaller maps, they might have a different meta where there's 3 subs or something, and I don't know.
Ooh.
It could be interesting.
Scrap
3 gun
pull out a
meta?
sub on Rio.
3 gun meta, maybe. We
3
don't know.
gun meta would go crazy.
That would go crazy.
I would love a 3 gun meta.
Yeah.
But with small maps, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
Like, because usually it's like mid range, kind of do it all.
Mm-hmm.
There's close up subs, and then like the backline AR hold it down beams from far distance. I don't know if we're gonna be able to have that backline player, but 3 gun meta I'm always a big fan of. So
yeah.
Hopefully we'll get to see it. Is there any other? Like, there's no other news other than that, is there?
I swear to God, I scrolled past a rumor that Beans was going to replace Scrap on Ultra, and that's about it.
You did say that, which is okay.
Yeah, I mean, Ultra's probably...
I guess.
I mean, I'm just going to assume...
available ARs.
Yeah, and I'm just going to assume if you were a top 4 team and you're getting rid of Hydra and Scrap, like, you're probably taking pay cuts this year, you know? Like, why would they not try to build a better roster? Why would C9 buy a spot and be like, all right, let's get rid of our best player now?
I don't know.
I
It's
don't
a
know
great
either.
question.
I don't know either. So
Maybe the buyout was so big they couldn't be like, I don't want, like,
yeah,
it might have just been such a big buyout that they were like, yeah, we'll take it.
yeah,
And honestly, C9 there's a reason they've been around for so long. They're probably like, we want you to have the best opportunity. We'll allow you to explore options. Your buyout's going to be this. And it's probably just as simple as that. They're not like, we're going to hold this guy hostage because he's the best guy on our roster. Because
right.
C9's a big enough org to where they know that they're not getting into to COD right now to grow C9's brand. They like Call of Duty, want to help Call of Duty grow, so they're entering it.
Yeah,
And so to them, it's not
it
about
could be that.
it's about money for them because they want to be involved with COD, but also not let COD ruin the rest of their brand.
Right.
So that makes sense to me, honestly. While they're just taking that paycheck and letting, because like they also know by letting Hydra go form this team, more eyes are going to be on COD.
Yeah.
So
So
I mean, I get it. As long as the buyout was like relatively large enough for them to be like, yeah, that makes like, yeah, this is gonna make sense. Then yeah, but like, so Skies and Kismet, I'm guessing they're still on there.
yeah.
Because Sib is like, I'm free agent.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Sib is definitely on that fourth team. By the way, if we were to make up 4 people, why does Toronto not go for Sib?
Could Seattle be the 4th team if Sib joined?
He goes back, so it'd be. I mean, who would you surround? So Sib,
Abuza, 04, and someone else.
Sib, Abuza, 04, and
Need a sub?
Gwyn.
Yeah, that would be gross.
Wow.
It would be nasty.
That would be a
Hold
good
on.
team. Because 04 is more of like a ratty
Yeah.
player in Respawn, and Gwyn's just.
And 04 is only going to
cowing.
get better. He's only getting better at respawn.
And you're immediately good at search. Like, immediately. Like, you're good at search.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there could
Gwyn
be a 4th
guys.
roster. There could definitely be a 4th roster.
I don't know if they're fucking. They could.
I don't know if they're
compete,
going
but
to win, but I think a team of Sib, Abuza, 04, and Gwyn could take a series and upset one of those
for sure.
top 3 teams. You know,
we just upgraded Brezzy to Sib and fucking Hook to Gwyn. Like,
yeah, because this year, most of the time it was like, all right, we know they're not winning that series until late, whenever LA Thieves started upsetting Ultra consistently.
Right.
But so it's going to be interesting. We still got a lot of dominoes to fall. We still don't even know if these are rumors. Or if these are true. Everything is rumors and speculation right now. So.
And I think a hard tell whether it's true or not is if dominoes start falling. So, like, let's say this wasn't confirmed, like the orgs didn't tweet it out, the players didn't leak it, and then next week we start seeing other rumors, then we probably know that the initial rumor is true because that domino, like you mentioned, started falling. So we'll see.
Yeah, but it's going to be a good season.
Yeah, so back to the main chunk of the podcast here. Like I said in the beginning, we went to Rocket League Worlds this past weekend, and it was insane. I didn't necessarily watch Swift play while it was happening. We didn't go watch the event for.
We went Saturday and Sunday for playoff bracket.
Yeah, so we just went for the playoff bracket, which, I mean, need I say more? I mean, that's just the smart thing to do, in my opinion, unless you're diehard and want to watch as much Rocket League as possible in person. But yeah, I'll go ahead and let you take over on our Rocket League experience.
Alrighty, let me switch screens here, mate. Alright, so Swiss play. We'll breeze through this. I'll just hit on some of the important matches, but going into this tournament, there were 6 teams, I would say, that could have won the whole thing. So G2 is one of them, Falcons, Furia, Carmine, BDS, and maybe Gentlemates, but they have not been playing great recently. So, but they have won a major before this year, and so you always got to put them in there. So it was going to be a crazy Worlds. I knew Swiss was going to be crazy. We were going to miss out on certain teams that probably should have made it, Vitality. And so first round, everything went according to plan, except Gen G gets beat 3-1 by Power. APAC region represent. 3 games in a row, 5-2, 3-2, and then 4-0. Just shit on them bad. Gen G came out flat this whole tournament. Really disappointing finish for them. They didn't make it out of Swiss, and their roster has disbanded. Appjack is gone, and Chronic's future is uncertain. So that's Gen G. Other than that, Carmine Corp 3-0ing Space Station. Space Station, if I recall, has a history of starting slow in Swiss, so I wasn't worried about that. Round 2, though, we had some good matches. Furia 3-1 Carmine Corp. I called this one. I felt it in the air. Jans was coming different this tourney, and sure enough, they beat him 3-1. Carmine Corp has been shaky this year. Going into the year, Vatira was the player that everyone was like, he's the best player in the world. Besides Zen, I guess. Zen kind of came in and took the title from him, but Vatira was everything last season, and this year they've just been up and down. They didn't qualify for Major 2, almost didn't make Worlds. Like, it was kind of a shit show towards the end. But they're still good. They lost 3-1. Space Station 3-0 to OG. They got their get back. Now they're starting to feel it, and they move on. Other than that, nothing really crazy. Vitality 3-2, close one to M8 Alpine. That's kind of rivalry match because some of those guys used to.
And what started like the for Vitality.
Yeah, big time. Round 3. Goodbye, Gaming Gladiators. They're gone. Limitless, gone. SSG versus Vitality. This is the match that I wanted to talk about most. This was the match of Swiss, in my opinion. I didn't watch every single Swiss match, but I watched most of them, and this one was insane. Back and forth all series, but SSG came out on top in Game 5 overtime. So shout out to SSG. That was their signature win. I knew for sure that they were making the bracket after that. And yeah, that was Vitality was now 1-2 in Swiss. Zen cried for like 5 minutes in his arms at the desk.
Not even eliminated yet.
They weren't eliminated yet. So let's talk about that. Like,
I mean,
I understand that he is a child, and he's still growing up, but if you're crying and your team is still in the tournament, I feel like that just brings the vibes down for your next match. You know what I'm saying?
What that says is I have no faith that we're going to go flawless for the rest of Swiss.
Yeah.
So if I'm his teammates, I'm like, obviously I'm not like judging him or anything, but then I'm thinking in the back of my head, why, like, we're still in this. Why are you crying?
Yeah. And then,
so I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I feel like that just made vibes all over the place, and they played OG, so that's a free win. But they had to play a hungry Oxygen in their good win or go home match, and Oxygen 3-1'd them. So I've been looking everywhere trying to figure out why the hell Oxygen is here. I didn't really pay attention to Rocket League news between.
Mina's number 2 couldn't make it.
That's why. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah. The number 2 seed from Mina.
Yeah, Oxygen slipped into Worlds off of a technicality, and now they make a run. It was kind of exciting. Yep. The team that wasn't even supposed to be here. But other than that, I mean, most of the games went as planned. Furia did 3-0 SSG, so at that point I was like, wow, Furia is looking terrifying right now.
But SSG clutched up.
Yeah, they clutched up, 3-0'd KCP to move on to bracket on Saturday. So here we are, playoff bracket Saturday. This is where me and Blake come in and start watching live. So what was our first match? Was it Furia Space
It was the
Station?
Tiebreakers. Well, the tiebreakers is what we saw first, but that didn't matter. It was just for seeding. Our first match was Furia versus Space Station.
Yeah. So this day was interesting because Furia played like 2 matches before playing their first real match in the bracket. So they were super warm on land.
They were.
Going into this SSG match, which worried me, and SSG did come out kind of flat. Picked it up later in the series, but it was too late. Yeah. And this was a hell of a series. I mean, all the maps were close, but SSG just fell short. And I was really sad for them. They could have made a deeper run. This is kind of their story this year. They've always been so close to being one of those top 6 teams, but they always just lose in close fashion to those top 6 teams. So they're right there. I think they should definitely stay together. I know this roster mania is going to be insane, so they might not, but I like them. They're a vibey team. They're all
I like
solid
Space
players.
Station.
Yeah.
Jerseys are fire too.
Yeah, they switched it up, went with like a Bass Pro camo look, and it was actually kind of cool. Yeah, I liked it too.
Okay, hold on. I got a Gentlemates and Oxygen.
Alrighty, so Furia 4-3 Space Station, Oxygen, and Gentlemates were next. This was the start of their run. Archie was playing phenomenal. Joyo was playing well. I mean, they were all playing well, but I think Oski was the MVP for their run this whole time. That man was everywhere on defense. He was setting up scoring plays. Like, he was just in butt cheeks the whole time, bro. He was in their back line bumping. Like, he was annoying. So, yeah, I mean, they were all just playing well. They were the only team left that I was like, there's no way that they can win this tournament. Like, I just knew that they were going to lose somewhere. Every other team, I didn't feel that way, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, shout out to them. Gentlemates fall 4-2, and that was the end of their season. I think they had a good season. I mean, they won the first major. They were a team of people who had been dropped from top European teams, so they were kind of like a revenge squad and ended up balling out. Juicy played well, made a name for himself because people were saying he was washed or whatever because he didn't do well on Moist with Joyo. So, good season from them. Yeah. Do they stay together? I doubt it. I think a lot of those European teams will shuffle up, but it's going to be interesting. But then we move on to our
upper bracket.
And G2 had to play BDS.
Yep.
Yeah. So G2 fall in Game 7 to BDS, a tale as old as time. Yeah, I mean, this was just the start of Monkeymoon being inevitable. The man is just a winner. And when you watch BDS, like, they just, once they get in rhythm, they play so fast and cut off so many passes and stuff. Like, they are annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of teams just aren't on the same level as them teamwork wise. Like, it just, when BDS is in form, it seems like all three of them are just flowing together. Like, it's insane.
One mind.
Yeah.
They're just a hive mind.
Yeah, they are. So, I mean, Monkeymoon, the man is just impressive. Roster after roster, whatever game plan he has, it always ends up working. Like, he's got the blueprint. So, BDS looked poised to make the run. This was a hell of a series. I mean, literally the whole bracket was crazy. Game 6s and 7s all over the place. But yeah, G2 fall. Luckily, it was a double elim for them since they went 3-0 in Swiss. So that could have been the M for them, but it wasn't. And they move on to wait on the winner of Falcons and Carmine Corp. Carmine Corp took that 4-1. So this was the first sign of like greatness from Carmine Corp that we know that they should be at. Everyone had Falcons as their favorite to win the tournament. They looked really good at EWC. Obviously, they lost to BDS in the finals there, but you know, when Falcons are on, they're another team that look unstoppable. But they fall 4-1. Carmine looked good. Rise played really well. I feel like he was always involved, always aggressive, bumping, and you know, making good passes and touches. Atao played really well. He had most of their goals this series.
So look at Carmine Corp versus Furia real quick in the tiebreaker. We had an OT win for KC. That was Atao. Go to Team Falcon versus Team Falcons. We had 1, 2, 3 overtime winning goals for KC. In this one, they were all Atao. And now go to this one that we're looking at. That overtime winning. They in the game 2, they were like, oh, Atao has 7 overtime goals for his team this week.
Oh my God.
Could he do it again? And I was like, what? And then that's why I wanted to go back and double check, because he was going crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. And we noticed like Atao was playing well every single series. We'll get to the G2 series, but I mean, he was on, Rise was on. So Vatira, a little quiet. a little quiet. Vatira was playing well at times, but I just feel like you didn't hear from him or see him in the action for like a minute and a half sometimes. And a Tao and Rise were all over the place. And Vatira is supposed to be their best player.
We said the same thing about Monkeymoon up to this point too.
Yeah.
On BDS.
Yeah. So that was that's interesting. And you know, Vatira last year made a deeper run with what people would say is a worse roster. So it could be a play style thing. Maybe he's not able to be as involved in like, you know, being aggressive, getting 50s and stuff because his teammates are like that. I don't know. Maybe something just wasn't meshing in their play styles, and that's why they had such an up and down year with such an elite roster. Yeah. Because, again, going into the year, everyone would have thought that they would take a major or win Worlds, be in the conversation, which, you know, they made a run. They got all the way to semis, but I just feel like we could have had more this year from this roster and Vatira. So, but Carmine Court 4-1, great series out of them. Now, Sunday, G2 versus Furia was the first match of the day. This match was an absolute banger. 7 games, back and forth.
OTs.
4 OT games that were over 5 minutes long. So basically they played 10 matches in a 7-game series. And yeah, I mean, it was just insane. Rocket League. It felt like both teams were so good that they were stopping each other from running their game plan. Like, nobody had clean goals. I'm sure there were some clean goals, but most of these goals were like just insane 50s nonstop, chaos everywhere, and eventually something leaked out and someone just happened to be in the right spot.
It ended 4 seconds into OT off of a 50 kickoff.
Yeah. I mean, it was just it was one of those games where everyone felt like, and maybe it was the first game of the day and they weren't peaking, but it felt like everyone was playing so well.
No, they were playing great.
Yeah.
They were warm.
Yeah. So it just felt like it was 2 teams at maximum skill, and you know, one of them could have taken it. Just, you got to get lucky type shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, great series. This was the start of G2's run. You could feel it in the air this day. We're all in Dallas. We're rooting for the last NA team. It was awesome.
Yep. USA chants going crazy.
Yeah. The USA chants were going crazy. Falcons Oxygen. This was a good series. And this is also where Oxygen's run ends. I mean, Falcons they're too much, bro. They're so good at bumping and, you know, demoing and getting people out of position. And once they're on, they're hard to stop. And, yeah, the snowball built up here in game, 5, 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah. So they just steamrolled them after that, except for game 6. Shout out to Oxygen, though. Weren't supposed to be here, and they made a hell of a run. Love to see it.
Shout out Joyo.
Joyo. Next, we got G2 Carmine. So
another banger. Another
game 7. And it's funny because I was in Dallas and I expected to drive home that night, which I did. But, you know, I thought maybe Worlds would end around 5. But we got game 7, game 6, game 7, game 7, game 6. So the day was long as fuck.
It was very long.
But yeah, also I meant to say this G2 Furia series was the longest match on LAN ever at RLCS. 51 minutes and something.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, so that's how we started our Sunday. But G2 Carmine was a good series. G2 started 3-0. And I was like, wow, G2 is shitting on them bad now. But in G2 fashion, sometimes they tend to take the foot off the gas and let a team back in a series. So Carmine did just that. And the funny thing is, Carmine called a timeout, and then G2 beat them 6-1 the next game.
Yeah, and then the tides turn.
Yeah.
And then G2 calls the timeout, loses a nail biter.
Yeah.
But then carries it on to Champions Field.
Yeah, I feel like that never happens. When a team calls a timeout, they usually win that next game. So for them to get absolutely shit pumped after a timeout and then bounce back and win 3 maps straight, that's tippable. Good for them.
Big fan of how quick they go from game to game within these matches, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that too. They really keep it moving. But yeah, this was the end of Carmine Corp's run. I just don't know how this roster stays together after a season where they didn't win anything and they were expected to win it all, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even qual for the second major, and there's only 2 majors. Like, you got to qual. So,
Tira.
Yeah. So, tough series out of them, and it ended because a Tau fat-fingered a backflip, and that kind of let the game get out of hand, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly. So
we'll get to a more important fat finger.
Yeah. So, moving on, BDS and Falcons. This was a hell of a series, 7-game series. BDS, again, goes up 3-0, and we're thinking, wow, here we go. Another BDS G2 grand final. Like, they're just going to shit pump Falcons. And then Falcons bounce back and make it a 7-game series. And Monkeymoon is inevitable. He's a winner. And that just too much for Falcons. Drawley.
Way too much.
Drawley, hell of a series.
I'm a big fan of Falcons. I like the way they do. I don't see, at least this weekend, I didn't see any other team doing as much off the wall, like down to midfield passes for, not even for shots, faking their double, so it drops to their person behind them for like a beamer of a goal. I don't know if it's just more evident that the plays that they make, it's just more evident when you watch them, but I just feel like I notice it way more watching them, their passes and their purpose fakes.
Yeah.
I love watching Falcons, but they came up short.
No, I agree. And I think, like, their ones players, Rawas and Killers, Rawas last year at one point everyone had as, like, the number one ones player in the world. So, in ones, you're going to have, like, that bumpy, weird, like, fakey play style, you know? Like, you're just going to hit people with mind games a lot. And I feel like Falcons do that so well with their fake double touches that lead to a shot and shit. Like, they're really creative in that sense. So, again, everyone thought that they would win this tournament because they are unique. They're a good-ass team, and there's, you know, not many people can replicate that kind of play. But they fall short. So, here we are again, all right? 2 years ago, I went to Worlds. It was BDS versus G2, and then BDS sucked all the life out of the room and just won the series. And I was getting mad deja vu, bro. I could feel it. I was like, no, dude, not again. Why is it BDS? I wanted it to be Falcons so bad because I saw this happening. And sure enough, here we are. G2 set to make the Miracle NA run, and they go up early. If I recall, G2 absolutely shit pumped them map 1. Yep, 5-0. And I was like, holy shit, we're doing it. This feels different. Like, they just got absolutely ran off stage. And Monkeymoon and them came and sat down with their headphones off and were like egging the crowd on to boo them and shit. And I was like, maybe that was a bad idea from them. But then they take a close game 2 in overtime. Stupid kickoff goal overtime. Game 3, G2 takes it. BDS calls a timeout and never lost after that. They just, they must have, I don't know what happened in that timeout, but they must have fixed a crucial mistake that they were making team-wise, and G2 just could not keep up after that. Their pressure was insane. Drawley was scoring everything, and out of nowhere, G2 had lost the tournament. I mean, I feel like it happened so fast.
Well, it happened so fast because also
that's
on Game 6, Neo Tokyo, maybe it was 2-2, 10 seconds left on the clock. BDS gets it into the corner where Atomic is going to field the ball. I have seen different opinions after watching it back. Initially, we were like, oh my God, he fat fingered the wrong way. And then ever since then, on the TikToks of people posting the clips and whatnot, I've seen the comments being like, he got a ghost hit, he got a ghost hit. Everyone's saying ghost hit, ghost hit, ghost hit. I didn't know. I I thought he just missed.
No, that's 100%.
I didn't know that was a thing.
That is 100% nerves. He did not mean to flip that early. And he probably didn't. I mean, he may have meant to flip left because if he does get a touch on the ball, it's going to lightly hit it onto the wall and bounce up. So I see what he was trying to do. I genuinely think it was nerves in the moment, and he just mistimed it a little bit by like microseconds, and it did rubber band phantom touch it a little bit. But I fully agree that that's a whiff. That's not some game cheese.
Yeah, he whiffed. He whiffed in the corner. It's bouncing off the corner wall in front of their net. He whiffs wide open follow up for BDS, and Monkeymoon becomes another champion.
Absolutely suffocated the room, the whole arena. I mean, I genuinely could not believe my eyes. It was tragic. It was the worst way to lose. Atomic played well all tournament. Don't get that twisted. Atomic had a hell of a tourney. They all did on G2. It just sucks to see it end so abruptly like that.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah. So I feel bad for them. I feel bad for Atomic. But Beast Mode's a good kid. He had his back on Twitter and was like, keep your head up. You played good. We could have done better.
Like I think he might be like one of my new favorites.
Yeah, dude. He's awesome.
He was... from the games that we watched on Saturday, Sunday, he was their best player. Just on both ends, he was going crazy. Like the amount of times that I saw him coming from midfield to defend his own goal, like driving backwards, readjusting midair. Like I know that's normal shit for them, but like just on repeat, just always there, getting the 50s. He was insane.
There's something about his air rolls and like touches on the ball that are just different. Like
they are.
Something about his movement is so smooth and like it just, I don't know. Like a lot of people have like very jarring
great reads
movement and they feel like they're playing really cracked, but he just seems so relaxed when he's like in the air doing all this shit.
Right, and it's the same shit.
Smooth, bro. Yeah. I do want to say though, Daniel genuinely is the best player in the world, bro. This dude is insane.
He does some crazy
shit.
I've
never felt safer in my life than when he's last back. When he's last back, absolutely. I'm like, oh, we're chilling. It's Daniel. He's insane. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Just the way he can touch the ball to get around defenders. Like, he'll touch it in the most awkward way and, like, make people miss. And his 50s always are on point. Like,
I said it to you.
He's insane.
I said it to you, like, part of the only reason that they got to the finals, that they got through the game 7s against Furia and KC, was because all three of them are so good on defense with 12 or less boost.
Yeah.
They are insane with 12 or less boost. There are saves that these other top 8 teams we have seen not save with 40 plus boost, but they are doing crazy shit with 12 or less boost to make these saves or clears. And it's like it was so evident that they were better than everyone else at it, because in the moments where you're like, oh, that's a goal, they're getting scored. Yeah. But when you're watching G2, they somehow save it. And I was like, what the fuck?
No, dude, there were countless times where they would be getting shelled, like 6 straight shots in a row, getting shelled. None of them have boost. Yes, the crowd is just gasping one after another. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that's a goal. Daniel comes out of the heavens out of nowhere and just saves one. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on?
We also noticed a lot of moments where demo cam was like key this weekend because it was recently implemented, and we noticed it a lot. Like, oh my god, right. Demo cam.
That's right, Archie especially. I think it was one of those maps. I forget if it was to win a series or if it was just a map against Falcons. But there was a game where Archie got demoed late in the game, and it left the net open for a shot opportunity that, without demo cam, is usually a goal because the player has to guess which side he's going to spawn on. And Archie knew exactly where to go because the demo cam took him back to where he was going to spawn, and he just spawned up and instantly blocked it.
I'm pretty sure it was against General Mates.
Yeah. So everyone in the crowd was like, demo cheese, demo cam cheese. Everybody was yelling about it.
I think it's good. I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
I think it's a good addition, even in the most competitive setting. I still think it's good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, G2, I mean, they played insane. It's just BDS caught fire, And when they are all on and moving together as a team so well, I don't think there's anyone that's going to stop that.
Yeah.
Monkeymoon is insane.
BDS.
Yeah.
Congrats.
People are saying let's never have another Dickies Arena thing again. Sorry, my alarm went off. Because BDS just wins there. Monkeymoon is in GOAT talks. So let me put this to you in COD terms, Blake.
Okay.
Say Karma had 4 rings in BO2, Ghosts, AW, and IW.
Okay.
And then somebody comes along in the CDL and gets 2 rings and has won hella majors in the CDL, which is now a very professional, more competitive league than it was back in the Stone Age. Who's the GOAT? The old dude who has 4 rings and probably isn't better than the new age player that's balling out in the new age league that's more competitive? Or do you put weight on past seasons?
So you're asking me, is Karma or Simp better?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or
Because that's kind of the situation we have here. You got a guy like Turbo Pulsa.
I would go. I mean, I'm gonna go Karma for sure.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that they're the GOAT. It's like MJ and LeBron. I mean, but yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. It's just interesting because we got Turbo Pulsa. He's won 4 world championships, and I think his most recent would be like 2018. I don't know, but it's definitely before modern crackhead Rocket League that you see today.
Sure. Yeah.
And Monkeymoon since COVID has just been on a tear. 2 world championships, 10 major wins, or 10 regional wins maybe actually. Multiple major wins. I mean, he has quite a resume. And so it's been a big debate this week. And
I think I would still consider Turbo to be the GOAT, but I mean, really, it's like you got to get another world. If he gets another Worlds, he's probably the GOAT.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I would say. If he can get 3 in the modern era where it's harder to win, players are better, different formatting, more money on the line. If he gets 3, then obviously I wasn't there for.
He's like Mahomes. Like, you know that he's probably gonna be the GOAT. You probably can't say it yet, but he's probably gonna be the GOAT.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, like I'm still saying, I'll go Turbo still.
Yeah. So, and I think there were some other players in contention, but there's definitely not a unanimous GOAT in Rocket League. All right, moving on. What we got?
All right, we're gonna end with our coin segment as always. Pick and bans. All right. I'm going to go first. I'll say my picks. Dak will say his pick. Then we'll go to the bans. Just anything in our recent life that pertains. But my pick is going to be Texas weather. I know it's plain and boring, but finally it's starting to cool down a little bit. And what I mean by that is below 90 a little bit, which is a big difference here in Texas. I just got a new driver, so I'm able to go golf when it's not unbearable. And get used to my new driver. So mid-September is it's about time.
Yeah.
So it's been nice.
It was hot as shit here today. One of them step outside and insta sweats, you know?
Yeah. It's 84 right now. It's not cool.
Yeah, but how humid is it? That's really what makes or breaks me.
It is... What percent humidity? 40% humidity.
I mean, there's been worse days. That's
no, it's not the worst, but I feel like that's pretty normal for you.
Yeah, no, humidity kills me. Yeah, we're at 52 right now. Ugh.
Yeah.
All right.
What's your pick?
My pick is the next generation of COD players. All right.
Oh.
We're in good hands. The other night I played a public match, Search and Destroy, first time in a long time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my feet wet, step out in the community, see how things are going. with the general COD public, and boy, I was not disappointed. We had this kid, first match, dude. This kid on Favela, the other team, gets like 4 kills first round, instantly in the mic, squeaker. You guys are dog shit. Just yapping, bro. I'm on a team with like these dudes. They're all just like country dudes, probably just chilling, playing COD for fun. And they were cracking up, bro. They start going at this kid. And I was like, oh, God, like they're talking shit to a little kid. Nah, that little kid held his ground, bro. He was witty. Go. He was talking little shit Timmy. Back to us every round. He was 8-1 at one point. We got absolutely shit pumped by this kid. And I was just smiling the whole time. I was like, we're in good hands, bro. There's more kids coming up with the COD gene. It never left. And, man, it was hilarious.
We're going to have to make some VO6 public S&D lobby videos or something.
Yeah, but he was like a young scrap. Just a little scrappy little long shit neck. Talker, you know?
A little long neck.
Yeah, so
all right.
I hope to see him on LAN one day.
My ban is LinkedIn job posting. So currently looking for a new job, and I don't understand why they can't put more detail about the job description. Like, I'm looking for a certain type of role and like environment or whatever, and it shouldn't take us having a phone screening for me to learn a little bit more about it. Now, I understand you don't put everything out there on the job posting, but in my
they're leaving out some crucial details.
They're leaving out crucial, which I get because it gets them more applicants, but come on, you're wasting my time here. Yeah. Like, and then I feel obligated to set up that following phone call for like an initial interview or something. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So fuck that. Also, I mean, and fuck looking for a job in general. But
yeah, dude, I feel that. Oh man, I just like got on Indeed the other day just to see what was out there. There wasn't shit that pertained to my fucking requirements. Yeah.
Fuck.
Okay. Anyways, my ban is every college team I follow. That is Arkansas, Notre Dame, and Tulsa. All dead to me. 2 weekends ago was the Great Reckoning. It was a terrible day for me. I had 3 teams playing. At the first time slot was Arkansas. They were playing Oklahoma State. That should be a good game. You know, I was like, these teams are about the same, kind of mid-pack.
It was.
And sure, the score was good, but that was the worst football game I've ever seen. It's so bad. I mean, both teams tried to lose 5 different times.
They did.
Neither one of them were good enough to lose. You know, they were trying to do it, and they failed. And then if they were trying to win, they failed at that. So this game just probably shouldn't have happened. And Arkansas and OSU, there were 2 missed field goals in a row in overtime, one from each of them. It was just pathetic. So
I remember going crazy when Oklahoma State missed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, they missed.
Yeah. So I was down bad after that game, and I was like, well, Notre Dame, that's my real like favorite team growing up. My dad watched them all the time. That's why I like them. So I was like, they're going to be my emotional support team. We're playing Northern Illinois this week. We're going to shit on them.
Paid them $1.3 million just to come here, so it's going to be a dub.
Yeah, and we just beat Texas A&M the week before. So,
right.
So I was like, bet. Let me get in a better mood. Let's turn on Notre Dame. I turn it on. They're down 13-3 in the second quarter. I was like, huh? So I watched it because a lot of times these bad teams get ahead early, and then the good team remembers who they are in the second half, and they end up shitting on them. Yep. It just never happened. Notre Dame came out the second half, and they were the same team they were in the first half, and we lost to Northern Illinois. At this point, I'm contemplating, all right? But I was like, it's all right. I got 1 team left. Maybe this can still be a good day. I turned on Tulsa versus Arkansas State. Tulsa's up 21 at half, or maybe a little less than that, but they were up, and I was like, bet. Yeah, we're doing good. This is a good game. They seemed like they were going to win it. So I don't watch the third quarter. You know, I was doing something else. I come back. We're down 28-24. And then they just never scored again, bro. They never scored again. So the whole day,
reckoning.
I was looking for a win and never got one, bro. And now Notre Dame's season is over.
Yeah, they're definitely chalked. People were saying after the A&M loss, like, it's not over now. But it's over now. Yeah. It's all ogre.
Yeah, big time.
But yeah. That'll do it for episode 38. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you enjoyed the COD stuff, the Rocket League stuff, make sure to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. It does help the channel grow. And we'll see you in episode 39. Deuces.